I don't tell a lot of people this story anymore. The few times I have, I can see it in their faces. They either think I'm exaggerating or they're trying not to look at me like I'm crazy. But every winter, when the first real storm hits, I can hear that laugh again in my head, and I see that stupid little thing hanging from our door. So if you're listening, take it however you want. I know what we heard. I know what we saw. This happened a couple winters ago in the mountains of Northern California, off one of those long stretches of highway where there are more pine trees than people. We were somewhere off Highway 89, up past Shasta, where the road climbs and then just disappears into forest and snow. It was me, my girlfriend Jenna, and our old German Shepherd Diesel. Diesel was 9 at the time, loyal as ever, still sharp but slowing down. His hips were stiff, and he eased himself in and out of the car like an old man taking the stairs. We were towing our little camper trailer behind my beat-up Toyota Sequoia. That truck had over 200,000 miles on it, but it had never let me down. I trusted it more than cars half its age. Our plan was simple: find a quiet turnout, park for the night, relax, eat, stay warm, and head into a small town the next day. But the storm moved in faster than they predicted. By late afternoon, the sky turned into a heavy gray lid. The flakes got thick, sticking to the mirrors and the windshield wipers, and then the Sequoia started to feel wrong. The engine didn't die immediately. It coughed, hesitated, and then the check engine light came on. The steering felt heavier. "Do you hear that?" I asked Jenna. She turned down the music. "Hear what?" "A faint knocking under the hood." Then the truck shuddered. The power dropped. My stomach sank. I guided us onto a wide turnout just as the engine died completely. Snow was already building up on the shoulder. "Maybe it's just the cold," Jenna said. "Maybe it'll start back up." I wanted to believe her. I popped the hood and stepped out into the storm. Snow stung my face instantly. Everything looked normal. No steam, no leaks, just an engine that had finally had enough. When I tried restarting it, the starter groaned, but the engine never caught. We had a tiny bit of cell service. Roadside assistance kept dropping the call. The only thing they managed to tell us was that someone might get in touch later, depending on road conditions. By the time we gave up, the Sequoia was covered in white. "We should just stay in the trailer," I said. So we did. Inside it was warm enough, cramped but cozy. We cooked soup and grilled cheese, made jokes about how this would be a funny story someday. Then we went to bed. Around midnight I woke up. At first I didn't know why. Then I heard it. Laughter. Very faint, carried on the wind. Not playful, not normal. It sounded wrong, high, sharp, uneven, like someone trying to imitate human laughter without knowing how. Diesel's ears were up. He wasn't barking, he wasn't moving. He just stared at the door, tense. Jenna stirred beside me. "What time is it?" "Do you hear that?" I whispered. More laughter drifted by, closer, followed by a breathy giggle right outside the thin trailer wall. Jenna grabbed my arm. "Is that someone?" I didn't answer. I reached under the bed and took out my Glock 19. The laughter stopped. Then something scraped along the side of the trailer. A long, slow drag of something hard across metal. Diesel whimpered, scared, not angry. "Don't open the door," Jenna whispered. "Please don't open it." I wasn't planning on it. I peeked through the small kitchenette window. Nothing but white, snow plastered to the glass. The scraping moved again, higher this time, closer. Then more laughter behind the trailer, like whoever it was knew exactly where we were. We sat there frozen, listening, scraping, laughter, silence, over and over again. Eventually it faded away. Morning came like nothing had happened, but something had. Hanging from the outside door handle was a strange little object. 2 twigs bent into a circle, tied with dirty twine. 3 stick bundles dangled from the bottom, and tangled into the twine were short brown clumps of hair. Jenna's color. Her hand went to her head, her eyes widened. "That's my hair, isn't it?" I didn't want to say yes, but it looked exactly like hers. Probably taken from her brush while we slept. Snow had buried any tracks. Everything looked erased. The storm trapped us another full day. The snow kept falling, the propane ran low, and taking Diesel outside was terrifying. Every time I stepped into the snow with him, I felt eyes on my back. The forest was too quiet, too still. That night, the laughter came back. This time it started farther down the road, moving slowly toward us. The giggles were louder, more deliberate, not drunk, not desperate, enjoying it. Scraping followed. Methodical. Around the back of the trailer, near the windows, a knock, another scrape. Jenna had tears in her eyes. Diesel just whined, frozen with fear. The laughter circled us for hours. Sometimes it grew so close it felt like someone was right against the wall. Sometimes it drifted just far enough away to make us hope it was gone. Then it faded again. Morning came, the storm broke. Snowplows eventually found us. We didn't tell them the full story, just that someone had been messing with the trailer. They didn't laugh. When the tow truck finally pulled the Sequoia out days later, I returned to the spot. Snow had wiped everything clean. There was no sign anyone had ever been there at all, except for a small piece of frayed twine half buried in the snow. I still have the twig circle, the one with Jenna's hair. It's sealed in a bag in the back of our closet. Sometimes I think about burning it, but sometimes, late at night and when the house is quiet, I can still hear that laugh. The way it didn't sound human. The way it got closer, then stopped right outside our thin metal walls. And I remember standing outside with Diesel, staring into the tree line, feeling watched. Whatever was out there, it wasn't lost. It was exactly where it wanted to be. We booked the cabin because it looked peaceful. That's what the listing said. Peaceful mountain escape just outside Sisters, Oregon. It had good reviews, a wood stove, big windows, and snow piled up to the deck railings. All the things you want when you're trying to get away for a long weekend. It was just me and my girlfriend Mariah. We both work a lot, and winter trips like this were kind of our thing. Quiet, off-grid places, snowed-in nights with a movie playing in the background, that kind of vibe. We got there just before sunset. The host had cleared the driveway, but the forest around the cabin was thick. So thick the trees leaned heavy over the road and the sky disappeared behind the branches. Beautiful, but isolating. Inside, the cabin was warm from the baseboard heaters. A big window faced the woods, nothing but a black wall of pine trunks once the sun went down. We made dinner, watched a movie, and settled into bed around 11. The wind outside started picking up, blowing snow against the windows. It felt cozy, it felt safe. At least it felt that way at first. I woke up sometime around 2 in the morning. The cabin was dark except for a faint blue glow from the window. Snow was still falling outside, soft and steady, the kind that muffles everything until sound doesn't travel right. I rolled over and reached for Mariah, but the bed was empty. At first I didn't panic. She gets up to pee sometimes. I listened for the bathroom fan or her footsteps on the wood floors. Nothing. The cabin was silent. I sat up, fully awake now. "Babe," I called quietly. No answer. I got out of bed and grabbed my phone, turning on the flashlight. That's when I noticed the bedroom door was cracked open and a faint draft was coming through it, a cold one. I stepped into the hallway, heart pounding, and immediately saw it. The front door was standing wide open, wide, like someone had shoved it hard. Snow blew across the threshold in small curls, already covering the entry rug. My breath fogged in the cold air. I whispered her name again. "Mariah?" Then I heard it. From the edge of the tree line, maybe 15 feet from the deck, a voice called out, Hey, come help me, come here." My stomach dropped. It was her voice, but not the way she normally sounded. It was thin and distant, like someone trying to copy her tone and getting the warmth wrong. The rhythm was wrong. The pauses were wrong. Like it was repeating something it had heard once. I stepped closer to the doorway and shined my light into the woods. That's when I saw her, or something that looked like her. Just beyond the trees, where the shadows pressed together, stood a figure with long dark hair. Same height, same silhouette. She was turned sideways as if she was about to disappear into the woods, but wanted me to follow first. "Come here," the voice said again, urgent, flat, not cold, not scared, just calling. She tilted her head in a slow, unnatural motion, not like a human checking their surroundings, more like something thinking about how a human moves. My whole body went numb. I opened my mouth to say her name, but before I could speak, a voice came from right behind me. "Why's the door open?" I spun around. Mariah was standing in the hallway, half asleep, rubbing her eyes. I whipped my head back toward the tree line. The figure was gone, just darkness between the trees, where it had stood seconds before. I slammed the door shut and locked it. My hands shook so badly I could barely slide the deadbolt. Mariah frowned at me. "Why are you freaking out? What's wrong?" I didn't know where to start. I told her everything. Waking up, finding the door open, hearing her voice outside, seeing someone in the woods who looked almost exactly like her. She kept asking if I was sure I wasn't dreaming, but I didn't dream with my eyes open. I didn't hallucinate cold air blasting through the doorway. We checked the cabin together, every room, every window, all closed and locked, nothing disturbed. We checked the exterior camera facing the driveway. It didn't catch anything. Motion activated, and whatever had been there was too far to trigger it. Mariah tried to be rational. "Maybe someone was messing with us," she said, "a hiker or someone camping nearby." At 2 a.m, in a blizzard, mimicking her voice perfectly. I didn't argue. We both knew that explanation didn't make sense. We went back to the bedroom, though neither of us planned to sleep. I pushed the dresser in front of the front door. We sat on the bed listening. The wind howled for a while. Then it changed. It wasn't wind anymore. It was whispering, and not close, not right outside the wall, but near enough that we could hear it sliding through the cracks of the cabin, like someone murmuring around the house. Sometimes it sounded like a voice I recognized, a friend, my brother, my mother. Then it shifted into Mariah's voice again. "Come here. Help me. Come outside." Every time the tone was wrong. Too slow, too deliberate, like someone practicing how to sound human. At one point, the whispering moved right up to the bedroom window. I didn't look. I didn't want to see what might be standing there. Mariah silently cried beside me, squeezing my hand until it hurt. The whispering went on for what felt like hours. It would fade, then start again somewhere else, moving, circling, approaching, retreating. Something was out there, something that knew our voices, something that wanted us to come outside. Around 5 a.m, the whispering stopped. The silence felt worse. We didn't wait for sunrise. We packed everything in 10 minutes and dragged our bags through the snow to the car. The forest looked normal in daylight, too normal, like whatever had been out there only existed in the dark. As we drove away, Mariah stared out her window at the tree line. Just as we rounded a bend, she whispered, "Did you see that?" I asked her what she meant. She swallowed hard. "I thought I saw me standing between the trees, watching the car leave." Neither of us spoke after that. We got home 5 hours later. We haven't gone back to Oregon since. The host messaged us asking why we left early, if everything was okay. I didn't know how to answer. How do you explain that something in the forest learned your voice, learned your girlfriend's shape, learned the exact tone she uses when she says your name? How do you explain something waiting outside a cabin in the dark, calling to you with the voice of the person sleeping 10 feet away? You don't. You just leave. And you hope it stays in those woods where the snow falls heavy, the nights feel too quiet, and the trees hide things that shouldn't be there. You've been listening to Fearcast FM. Stay safe out there.